Okay, there we go. This main window here is the user interface of Maestro, and the ones who are familiar with PDF compressor will easily recognize the similarities. So once again, we have a list of conversion jobs. In this case, no compression jobs, but conversion and OCR jobs. And we have a number of processor cores on this machine, 8 to be specific. And I have already created this job here for the English version of the webinar. So this is our input folder. Let me briefly show you what's in there. We have 2 subfolders with black and white scanned documents, so some proceedings of whatever, black and white text scans, and a patent, I think, for some automobile technology, and 2 pieces of newspaper, 1 form in black and red, weight and text statements, and this leaflet for a real estate offering, okay? Quite popular buying real estate in Berlin at present. So, okay, that's the input folder for my Maestro conversion process. You see a lot of similar options to the PDF compressor, but no, as we call them, born digital formats, so no Office, no email conversion. The output folder is right next to the input. As Thomas already mentioned, I have chosen PDF A to A instead of the default PDF A to U in order to create tag PDFs right away. You have some more options. Again, this is a strict subset of the functions in PDF compressor. So everything you see here in terms of options and conversion is available in PDF compressor as well. As Thomas mentioned, there are some things for image pre-processing. For example, if you have microfiche scanned, you can invert the colors and make them black text on white text again. You can also reduce the color information in the document, make them grayscale. And eventually you get to this tab here, which is kind of the heart of the matter. It's the OCR. Still, you can choose to switch off OCR, but of course, then you only get PDFs without recognized text. That may be helpful in some cases, but overall, this is of course the thing to do. We have the languages here. For the English webinar, I deselected German and selected English as the language. And we have some of the additional output file formats. So with these formats checked, Alto, for example, or Microsoft Word, you get a file corresponding to the scanned document, where the Alto is a specific standardized XML representation of the text contents. It's kind of a vendor-independent OCR format, okay? And the MS Word is, of course, Microsoft Word, so you can also generate a fully functional Word document from your scanned text pages. And also briefly mentioned by Thomas, I think, we can write a so-called confidence report. It's, again, an XML document, and it basically contains all the statistics of the OCR as to how sure it was on a per character, per word, per page basis that everything it recognized is correctly. So that can, of course, serve to control the entire process. If you see a drop in this confidence, it may have to do with the scan quality or something else may be amiss in your process. And then we have those advanced OCR options. So you can switch picture and table detection on and off. That influences the way in which the OCR, for example, looks for text in things such as images. It can be desirable. It can be a detraction. You can specify the range of pages to actually submit to OCR. So if you know, for example, all your odd pages don't contain text at all, then of course you can include them from the OCR, and you can skip pages for certain sizes. This is specifically in case you have large images, such as drawings, technical drawings and maps, where OCR is known to yield poor results, and then you can exclude them from processing right away. We'll see a little more of that when I get to zonal OCR, but for now, let's just start this conversion job. And you see, once I've clicked on start here, the processor cores get occupied with the conversion tasks, and the output folder is beginning to fill with the documents created. So for each input document, we now see an Alto document, a confidence report document, a Word document, and the actual PDF document. That's because of the additional file formats that I selected. Let's wait a second here for this one. I think this is really impressive. No, come on. Okay, there we have it. So this is the PDF document from the scans, some nice pictures of everything. And if you put the Word document next to it, you see a pretty decent representation of the same document, right? And this is a fully functional Word document. So I could just start typing into that right away. You see some of these separator lines were dropped, but for example, if I wanted to put some text here, I could immediately start with this Word document as a base for my editing. To have a quick peek into the Alto document, for those of you who are no, oh yeah, okay. Okay, for those of you who are familiar with it, that's an XML format, and you do see the eventual text content, renovated 3-room apartment with balcony in here, but along with lots of statistical information, such as the exact position of every single word on the page and so on and so forth. That is really pretty technical. Once again, if I get to this one over here, will show, I didn't devise a document that actually contained Thomas's name, so I'm sorry for that, Thomas. But you see this systems word has been hyphenated, but still if I say systems here in the search, it will find it along with the instances where it stands completely. So that's one of the features. Again, we can also take a look at this document in the text viewer. You see this is not so perfectly separated in terms of the two columns, but still all the text is in here. Same for this document over here, text viewer. Here the separation into two columns worked a little better, but that's basically what you get. And now I'd quickly like to show you the zonal OCR feature. So for that, we have a construction drawing here, which I can open up, which will already take a moment in this Irfan View viewer, and what you see here is quite a complicated drawing with lots of symbols, lines, and text in there. That's a pretty hard job for any OCR from our experience, but we do have this rather clear block of signature information on the right-hand side. If you take an overall look at this image, you'll see that it is some 118 by 83 centimeters, so it's about a square meter in size. And beforehand, I did go and did a little measuring. This block on the right-hand side is some 20 centimeters wide. So if I take this document, simply drop it into the Maestro user interface. You see it here as the input file already. And then I go to Advanced OCR and do zonal OCR, define a new zone. So everything, or only what I define as the contents of this area, this zone, will be part of the OCR, okay? And if I now say, well, 20 centimeters from the right edge and no centimeters, nil from the top, plus the bottom right corner of the document, that's my zone to recognize, okay? And I could even say this should only happen for documents of a certain size, and I could add additional zones, but we'll stick to this one for now. What I now get when I OCR this document, of course, it is converted to a PDF file, and it takes a moment still. But what I get is this, and if I now go ahead and select all text in this document, you see blue markings only here for the right-hand side, and also in this text viewer view. Well, it's German text that didn't get recognized so well with the English setting. I should have changed that. But anyway, this is the result for this document, and that can be a great help if you have things such as plans or maps, or for example, if you have a stack of documents where address information or payment information is always in about the same position, and that's actually all you're interested in, then you can define a zone to cover that area and get OCR information explicitly for that area. And for your downstream processes, there is much less additional clutter to filter through in order to get, for example, to a credit card number or account number or postcode or whatever. Okay. And finally, we'll get back to this plain output folder. And we'll open up this PDF accessibility checker. That's from a non-profit third-party organization who developed this application in order to analyze and rate the accessibility of documents. So if I take this newspaper page and drop it in here, it takes a moment to process, and you see some in some aspects we get green lights right away. In some other aspects we cannot, because, for example, we cannot really determine the language the document is in. As you just saw, I ran the German construction drawing with English settings, and that didn't get corrected. The process itself is unaware of what the actual language as a document is, and therefore we are hesitant to put some language information into the created result. Well, this actually really takes a while. Let's see whether we can get to the logical structure anyways. Okay. So here you have the page view, and this is the structure tree. This is the actual tagging visualized, and I can expand this, and you see right away this got recognized, misinterpreted as a table. That would be something that a human reviewer would have to correct. But for example, if I step through these here, you see that the reading order is pretty decent. It takes to the small articles in the left-hand column first, and then gets to the content of this article and gets the 2-column plus a table layout pretty decently, okay? So this is something that the tagging will do. It will also contain information that's not viewable in this instant here. Okay. It will distinguish the images that have been recognized by the OCR, and they will be marked accordingly in the PDF output document. Okay. Okay, I'm aware that this was a pretty quick dash through some of the things that Thomas mentioned. Again, all that we've seen here also holds for PDF compressor. So PDF compressor really is the big brother. It has all the options plus some additional ones. Thomas, anything I forgot?
Thank you very much, Armin. No, I think it was a pretty good overview as far as I have seen. Let me switch the screen. So here's the summary of your things. There was one question, but I can answer this on my own. So the one question was how to configure or use Maestro in really high volume things. And so this is where we can provide or have experience on how many runtime is needed. Obviously, it always depends, but our, let's say, experiences are pretty good. And if you know, that's typically what you should know, or if you're a service provider, what your customer should know, the number of pages or the approximate. So let's assume there's 1 million pages to do. And how long is the time available? Maybe it's a one-time project. So you have, I don't know, only 3 weeks available, and then we can calculate how and help and estimate how Maestro should be used. And this is also a nice bridge to the license models, which I would like to give you at least an overview briefly. We're obviously always happy to discuss projects with you in detail and consult on usage, on licensing, but also our support helps and is ready to help us if you have, let me call it, complicated documents. And there's a lot of, as you may have seen in Armin's demo, a lot of fine-tuning options which help for real-world and difficult things, whereas the defaults typically work quite well, but if you have very specific documents, then fine-tuning may help a lot. So basically, there's a core model for ongoing projects. So as you have just seen in Armin's demo, he had a Maestro server with 8 cores, which was already a high volume thing. So this is helpful if you run the digital mailroom, and if you have more the one-time projects. So you have to do this 1 million pages, and then the project is done, the job is done. Then we also offer in a very flexible way what we call volume packs, and then the license is 1 million pages. So when the 1 million pages are converted, the license is over, but also your job is successfully completed. And this is also because this way the limit is the number of pages, so the maintenance is included. So you can do it in 3 weeks or in 3 years, doesn't matter. And you can use as much cores as you need in order to process it in the time you have available, because the limit is the 1 million pages. For existing Maestro customers, because it's already version 8, so as you may assume, there are previous versions, customers with maintenance are always welcome to upgrade as part of their maintenance. And also, if you're running Maestro for a while, the maintenance prices remain unchanged. So that's where we want to offer some long-term customer discount. And that way. And just as a summary, I guess most of you know it, but this is a typically set up in a very simple description. Obviously, there's more when we talk about your projects and details, but you have the scan hardware, then you typically have a scan client. So this sits in front or happens before Maestro is coming into the game. So the scan client is typically, this helps to desk queue pages to make them this one, also some other features, and just think of empty back pages if you scan those, but while scanning you may want to drop them. And if you have what I like to call a good scan or an optimal scan in the best quality, because Maestro will do the rest for you, then you can deploy Maestro for reaching searchable PDF or PDF-A files. So this is what we wanted to present to you. We hope you received some interesting information. Obviously, the live demo is typically a highlight, and I think Armin did it very nicely. So thank you for your attention. Last question to Armin, whether there are further questions?
No, I don't see anything else at present.
No. Then maybe, as Armin said in the beginning, if you have a question in 5 minutes, please do not hesitate to contact us for this. We would like to thank you, and wherever you're located, have a nice evening or have a nice day. We hope to see you in the future webinar. Thank you and bye-bye.